listening to the Doin Motherhood Podcast, where we talk all things Black mothers today. What's the goings on, y'all? We are back with a new episode, a new season. This is season 2. I really haven't decided if we're doing seasons, like hardcore seasons, but I feel like this is a second season. So let me just fill you in on a little bit. So it's 2022. Today is 2/2/22. So I feel like it's a special day. I have a special guest who's going to be joining us here in just a little bit. Can't wait until we talk with her. But some things that you can expect now that we are back on the air. This year is all about light and growth. Those are my two target words for the year. And so I'm going to have a conversation with you about what that looks like and what does light and growth look like in terms of this podcast. Those are my target words for my life. I'm living by those. I'm not trying. I'm living by those this year. And so, it's going to be a little bit of a different spin for the podcast, and I'm excited about that. Last year, we talked about some kind of heavy topics, and we just want things to feel a little expansive in 2022. So here we go. Before we get started with today's guest, I want to let you know about Hospital Doula Training Co. So Hospital Doula Training Co. is committed to bridging the gap in maternal care. We train doulas how to navigate the healthcare system so they can teach their families the same. So you might remember that Hospital Doula Training Co. is the training company that I started. Our first cohort is underway. They've been studying for almost a month now. Things are going great. And registration is going to be opening for the second cohort on the day that this episode airs, which is this coming Friday. So if you are listening to it and if you are interested in becoming a doula, you want to learn how to be a doula because that is a business you want to start, or if you just plan to be the doula for your family, please give us a look at hospitaldoulatrainingco.com, or you can look at our IG page at Hospital Doula Training Co. All right, listener friends. So today we are talking elections with candidate Aurelia Wagner. Aurelia Wagner is running for state representative of District 147, which serves 3rd Ward, the Heights, and a few other neighborhoods. She's a bright new politico with a heart for working class families in Houston. Aurelia's platform includes topics that are at the top of many middle class and working class mothers' minds. Issues such as restoring reproductive rights, increasing minimum wage, healthcare for all, and increased funding for public schools and school teachers, among others. I'm proud to welcome candidate Aurelia Wagner.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Yeah.
So
and hello to all the listener friends, right? Yeah.
Hey, Alex. So Aurelia, welcome to the Doin Motherhood Podcast. So happy to have you here. I am, you are the person in my district. You have my vote.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We're trying to get the listener friends on board. So I just wanted to talk to you today about, what your position consists of, where you are running, and, just give us a little bit of information about your platform. So first, I want to just get right to the most important thing. So because time is of the essence. So real quick for our listener friends, what position are you running for?
I'm running for state representative for District 147. I'm a Democrat and I'm running in the Democratic primary.
Wonderful.
So, yeah. And
what neighborhoods does it serve?
So it's a lot of neighborhoods. Basically, if you take the city of Houston and you slice it into eighths of pieces of pie, it's like the southeastern slice. Okay. So it starts at the Heights. It's a part of downtown, Midtown, 3rd Ward, Montrose. It goes all the way down to South Park, part of Minitex, Greater Hobby area, and Garden Villas. So it's a really, really big district. And it's one of the most diverse districts in the state of Texas.
Lovely. And when is election day? When do we need people lined up?
Yes. Okay. So the last day to register to vote for this cycle was January 31st. So hopefully everybody is registered to vote. But early voting is going to start on Valentine's Day, the 14th. It goes until the 25th. And then election day is Tuesday, March 1st. And the cool thing is now you can go anywhere countywide in all of Harris County. So even on election day.
Oh, because see, I always sneak in there on earlier, like, because I don't want to,
Yeah.
I just want to pop in wherever I see a sign and cast my vote. I don't even know that I know exactly where my polling location is because I've always gone on early voting.
Well, now you can go even on election day anywhere, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can go and vote anywhere Harris County wide.
Okay. Wonderful. So I wanted to make sure we got all that important information out at the top. Valentine's Day starts early election. Get there early if you can. But even if you go on election day, you can go wherever you need to go county-wide.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So Aurelia, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what's your background? How'd you come to be in this position?
Yeah. Well, I'm an educator. I'm not a career politician. And I decided to run because of my students. I had so many students that they were dealing with so many just atrocities and really struggling. I had students, honestly, that didn't have running water that I had to buy like baby wipes for just so they can feel some sort of decency about themselves. Students that were being raised in single family homes or by their grandmothers with incarcerated parents. And so I just know the power of the legislative process and that, these policies have the ability to change people's lives. And that's what I want to go do and go to Austin and help create meaningful policies that are going to trickle down to the people who need them the most, and change people's lives.
Yeah. That's what I really like about your platform. When I go to your website, I see that you talk a lot about middle-class families and working-class families and us doing what we can.
Yeah.
Like you said, using that legislative process to help out those who may not be able to help themselves or, use their own voices. Why this particular position? Like, what does state representative do?
You know what? So honestly, I'm going to share something with the listener friends and with you. This is my second time running. And the last time that I ran 2 years ago, and even now, there are always people who basically tell me, well, you're a school teacher. You should only run for school board. And I'm putting it lightly because people have said some really nasty things to try to deter me from this. But the truth is, one, I have my master's in public administration with a concentration in public policy. So I can create policy as well as educate. Okay. But like I said, school board really only has as much power as the state legislature gives them. It only has as much power as TEA gives them. And so to say that a teacher's place is on a school board, I just think that is really belittling. But honestly, like I said, I want to impact change countywide, statewide in a real meaningful way, not just about education. Like I said, my platform started because of, this just desire to do for my students. But really systemically, they're dealing with a whole slew of issues that wouldn't just be covered if I ran for school board.
Yeah.
And
I like that because then it's also not just about the students, it's thinking about their parents.
Yeah.
And it's thinking about what affects the household and not just what the students need. It's super important, and that is part of your platform, right? Like what education reform. But I appreciate as a mother that you are looking at how do we impact the entire family?
Holistically. My platform, I think, I was talking with somebody about it and it just came to me one day that everything in my platform, everything that I stand for really is trying to get back to not just democratic values, but values of an immediate or nuclear family. And I don't mean to say heterosexual man, woman, I'm an out proud lesbian. And my spouse and I, we're trying to have kids and everything. But just the system is not set up for people to start a family, raise a family, and affordable housing. You can't find anything affordable in the city of Houston. You got to go all the way out to Fresno or Richmond or, I don't know, Galveston, so that, middle income people can find their first home. Healthcare, I mean, it's a crisis, right? It's an atrocity. And just the system where people who are trying to reproduce, my own fertility story, is so astronomically expensive on top of preventative healthcare and, other things that you have to do to maintain your health. Basic health.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, things are so terribly expensive. And so I just want to help create policies that are going to encourage people to be able to have decent lives, right? Like the living wage, which will boost the middle income, right? But it just encourages people to be able to live, the American dream. That's what I'm referencing, I guess.
Because they promised us.
They promised us a lot. They promised us 40 acres and a mule too.
And we want it all.
Yeah.
But most importantly, what we want is to know that we can raise our children in stable households, whatever the family makeup is.
Exactly.
Right? So raising our children in stable households, able to take care of our health, that our children have good and quality health care, and that we are making the wages that are going to help that happen.
Exactly.
Right? Beautiful. What do you want Black mothers specifically to know about your platform, or what they should understand about this election cycle altogether?
Well, I think that I know that I am the most progressive candidate.
Okay.
And I also know that there are some other folks that are running that don't have the interests of Black and Indigenous people at the forefront of their mind. We have been forgotten, specifically like neighborhoods like South Park, historically, African American, garden villas and greater hobby areas, riddled with crime and human trafficking. And, that's a historically Hispanic neighborhood. And those neighborhoods have been forgotten. And I'm running specifically because my students are those kids, And so what I want for Black people, for brown people, for people, Indigenous people of color, I want them to know that having me as your state representative means that I am going to fight for you. I'm not going to take interest to special interest groups, or, I'm not a corporate Democrat. I am I'm so far left, on the spectrum. And some of my opponents, they are pro charter, pro voucher. And I'm the only candidate that's spoken out about how, charter schools are really sucking away the resources from real public schools, which are democratically elected boards that have, some sort of accountability to them. The only candidate that's speaking out about privatized prisons, which we know incarcerate Black and brown men, 3 to 4 times more than they do our white counterparts. And so
affecting those households,
affecting Black households. Right. And so I'm running because holistically, I believe that people need help. Despite your race or ethnicity or, or whatever. I am a Black woman. I do live in a Black neighborhood, but I see that every neighborhood has some places that they can improve. But more so Black and brown neighborhoods, we need a lot more resources in order for us to, have some sort of, for us to not be equal, because what we really need is, we need reparations. Okay. But
come on.
We need, it's not equitable is what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we need more resources in order for everything to be equitable.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. How can we help you? What can we do to help you before Valentine's Day? Okay. We need her. I know you were out block walking last weekend.
Every weekend.
You had an event last night.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so where can they see you? Where can they volunteer? Where can they DONATE donate some funds, please? So
our grassroots campaign is up against a machine. Like I mentioned, there are some other candidates that are running, and these ladies some of them are career politicians. And so they have war chests, just like coffers of money that, cost more than my house. Okay. And so some people think that, they're the front runners because they have all this money. Well, that money, really what they end up doing is they pay political consultants and they pay people to canvass for them, block, walk, and phone bank. But the beautiful thing about being the most progressive candidate and being a fresh face and trying to bring in a new generation of leaders is that we have so much support from loyal volunteers that are coming out every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, to block walk. Phone banking, they're coming out. We have folks that are sending money from, we received a donation today from Virginia, one yesterday from Arizona, because the message is being spread that this campaign, this candidate, on this slate of Democrats, this person, Aurelia Wagner, is the most progressive candidate. And if we really care about democracy and we really care about social services and giving people, an equitable, quality of life, then this is the person that we need to go with. And I'm honored, to have that support. So on our website, which is www.aureliawagnerfortexas.com, you can go there. There's a link to donate on there. There's also a link to volunteer or to get a yard sign if you live in the city of Houston. So yeah, all those things are on our website.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure to put that in the show notes so you guys can get right to it. And just come out and help in those efforts. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you, because what this reminds me of is I'm a little sappy here, but this just reminds me of hearing about Obama first coming out. Like Obama didn't have all the money and the machines and everything behind him. He was literally walking door to door, talking to people. And that's what I've been seeing you do. That's what, like I said earlier, the issues that you are working toward are those that affect me immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And affect my neighbors and in the community that I live in. And so I want to speak to the candidate, or I want to vote for the candidate that has shown up at my door, put a yard sign in my yard, and, talked with us and let us know what's going on.
I think that is one of the main things that stands out to me when I talk to folks, because like I said, we have people that are helping us out with phone banking. And then every day it's in my purse, but every day I have a notebook and I write down the names and phone numbers of the interactions that our phone bankers had. Mm-hmm. And the next day I go back and call those folks myself. Okay. And I say, hey, I'm Aurelia Wagner. You spoke with one of the volunteers yesterday. And then, I'm talking, saying my little spiel, and the person will say, wait, are you the lady? You're the candidate? And I say, yes, I'm Aurelia Wagner, running for state representative. And then so some people are like, oh, I'm just so amazed that you called me. Like, this is so awesome. Thank you for calling me. Or when I'm the person that knocks on the door, to talk to them, and they realize that, like, I'm the girl on the card. They're like, thank you so much for coming out, and I'm engaging in conversation. And I think that is where, that's where the disconnect is. People are always trying to figure out, like, how can we get new voters to come out? How can we get people who have lost faith in the democratic system to regain their faith and, restore their faith?
Because I'm going to be real, I was one who lost the faith, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. After 2016, I was like, what is going on? And so campaigns like this restore my faith.
Right.
Really do.
Yeah, I think I may have been one of those people who lost faith as well, because it just seemed like the same things are happening over and over again. And then the politician comes out and they, kiss a baby and shake a hand. And then they go back behind their iron gates in their ivory tower. And, and then the
and
people
we're like,
are
where's the
like,
reparations?
yeah, exactly.
You promised us
Where's
the
my mule? Yeah. But I think that campaigns like mine, grassroots campaigns like AOC, they really, let people know, okay, this person, it takes the like, I guess the facade that like, this is not a real person. Like, I'm a real person, I'm a real life person with a regular job. Like, I go to work every day. People call me for the campaign and I'm like, I'm at work.
And I just want to speak to that because I have been at several functions, right, where there are local politicians show up to talk to us. I'm always at birth stuff, right? So I'm always usually at a birth event where there's a politician talking about what they're going to do, the platform that they're running on to help with this maternal health crisis that we're having and how we're going to reduce maternal mortality. But one of the things that strikes me often is that when I go up to say hello, to speak, to introduce myself, there's so little time.
Yeah.
There's like almost no time. It's a real quick, okay, I gotta go. And they barely even look you in the face. And so again, y'all, she is real. Okay, she is real. She shows up. She came in here today to talk to us. She was at my house last week out in the front yard talking about all the platforms, and I had a baby. Not my baby. Okay.
You did have a baby.
We had the baby. Okay, we got the picture with the baby and everything. But that's what is most important to me and why I wanted you to be here on this platform, so that people can see you are a real person, that your heart is in the community and truly for the people and not just about the position or the power, I think I can say, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, there are a couple folks in the race that it seems like they're making a power move. They're, like I said, career politicians who have had other positions in the past or currently have a position. And then they're going for this. And it was interesting because, like I said, I ran 2 years ago, and none of these other people were in the race. And I ran up against a 30-year incumbent. And there were some rumors, speculations, maybe he might retire. And then all of a sudden, 6 folks, dropped their name in the hat. And I'm like, where were y'all at? Where were y'all at 2 years ago? And they love to. A couple of them love to say, I put in my I filed for my candidacy 2 weeks before Representative Coleman announced his retirement. And I'm like, I ran against him 2 years ago. But anyway, yeah. So it just, and then there are a couple candidates that, they're being fueled. Their campaign is being fueled by, like I said, special interest groups. And so I just wonder, like, what is your plan for the district if these are the folks that are financing your campaign? Gotcha. Instead of just real regular working people. All of our donations are an average of less than $60. And I think that's something, really to pump up, because our campaign is being funded by regular everyday people who just want to see somebody from the middle class speak for us. And I think that is also what's missing. Going back to the folks who told me, like, you can only run for school board. Why is it that we think that only doctors and lawyers and CEOs can be legislators? Why is it that we think that only they can be senators and House representatives? It's nowhere in policy and law and regulation saying that you have to have these accolades or whatever.
Yeah. And the thing about that is that those are positions, and my listener friends know I always talk about birth, and I always talk about, hospital and healthcare systems and the power dynamic that's at play, and the imbalance in that power dynamic, right? And so when we're only electing people who have that amount of power, and not even just that amount of power, but the influence that they have with these special interest
and that
groups,
perspective
right?
too.
What happens is we lose the people like you, the people like you, the people like me, right? Our children get lost in all of those conversations. And so our voices matter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do.
Our voices matter. Our votes matter. And I think there's something to be said too, you mentioning that the donations that come in are what would probably be considered small donations, right? But to me, what I hear is that that's how much people, like, we're talking about families that are probably struggling. We're going on the second year of this pandemic at this point. It's a hard time, right? It's a hard time for a lot of families. But if they're pulling out their money, that means that there's something that you're doing and saying that people are connecting with. And that belief is what we're going to run with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me happy to know that I'm connecting with so many people and that so many people have, faith in me and they're, entrusting their confidence in me, because I don't take it lightly. This is a big position. And my only hope is to go to Austin and represent the will of working class Texans who just need a little help.
Love it. So go to the show notes. Make sure you click on the link. Take a look at Aurelia's campaign website. Do what you can. If you can volunteer on a block walk, if you can volunteer on phone banks, if you can donate, we would love to look me like I'm on the campaign. Okay. We would love your donation dollars. Thank you. But pay attention. Just, look at what's happening. Pay attention to what's happening in your community. Look at all the candidates. I mean, all the other candidates. State Representative 147, this your girl, okay? But take a look at the entire ballot, and I just want our listener friends and those that you are in community with to be serious about it. We've got a lot of change that needs to be made in our communities, and this is where we start with that. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you here.
Yes, me too.
And we are back. Thank you for being here with me in 2022. I have missed talking with y'all throughout the holiday break. And like I told you in January, we were reorganizing and, getting some new things in place. And so one of those things is that we are now looking for sponsors. Small businesses who are looking to spend some advertising dollars. If you need ad space, we are here to provide that for you. So look out, you can reach out to me at anya@anyadula.com, or you can reach out on the Instagram page at Doin_Motherhood_podcast. So there is a docuseries that I'm working on right now, and it is called Black Birthwork. I have started working on that with filmmaker Alyssa Rochelle, who is right here from Houston, Texas. And Black Birthwork is a docuseries that illuminates Black births, Black legacy, and Black birthing people. We are sharing the stories of Black families and their birth stories so that, we're sharing with the community information that a lot of times is not out there. And we want to quell all of the misinformation that's out there and make sure that families are aware of their birthing rights, their birthing options, and how to be advocates for themselves. So you can go to blackbirthwork.com, check out our website. We are also on Instagram at Black Birthwork and on Twitter at Black Birthwork. I'm not sure if Twitter starts with an at, but you get it. Thank you. So talking about, what is coming or what this new year looks like for me. So 2022 for me is all about light and growth. And of course, if I am living light and growth every day in my life, I have every expectation that that's going to spill over here to the podcast space. And so I just want to talk to you a little bit about what I mean by light and what I mean by growth. And hopefully I can build in some accountability from my listener friends, right? So, if I'm on here real heavy with it, let's get into what light talks about, what I mean by light. So first, light. These are, or actually, I want to just start with why I choose 2 words as opposed to, resolutions. Because like most people, I would set a resolution and I'd have like 10 things, and stop cursing was always at the top of my resolution list. And I'm not ever going to stop cursing. And so finally I had to just say to myself, let's do this another way, right? Like, let's find another way where I don't get to March or April and feel like a failure because I haven't completed all of the things that are on my resolutions list, or that I've, forgotten about 3 of them and I'm only working on 1. It just kind of always had me in this feeling of like trying to catch up with myself, or like I said, feeling just like a failure. And so a few years ago, it's probably been like 5 years now, the first time it was just like 2 words in a meditation session, 2 words popped up, and they were 2 words that I thought to myself, if I can just focus on these 2 things, it will be a good year. And it did turn out to be a good year. And so that's been my New Year's, refresh, I guess, if you will. So when I say light, when I say that 2022 is a year of light, it shows up in 3 ways. And my plan is for it to look like 3 different things, right? So when I say stay light, I mean that I want to stay, like, I don't want to be Erykah Badu's bag lady, right? Like, I want to not be carrying all the bags so that I can make it to the bus and my back not hurt, right? I don't want to be carrying extra responsibility. I don't want to be carrying a lot of worry around. I don't want to be holding on to heavy feelings or hurt feelings or things that happened in the past that tend to weigh me down or weigh us down in our daily lives if we're not checking that stuff, working through it. So working through it, whether that's finding an outlet for yourself, like exercising to work through it, journaling to work through it, working with a therapist or a counselor, all of the above, right? So that's what I mean by, that's my first, just staying light. Like, I don't want to carry a bunch of extra. We don't need it. We don't need it. Number 2, when I say light, I mean to illuminate, that I want to illuminate. So having Aurelia Wagner here today was part of that, right? Bringing to light a candidate who is right here in our neighborhood, in our backyards, so that you all are aware of what's going on. That's part of it, bringing truth to light. So y'all already know the work that I do as a doula. I talk about it all the time. I tend to talk about it like it's all butterflies and rainbows. If you follow my Anya Doula account right now, it doesn't look like that. It's not looking real light right now, but bringing truth to light, right? Having those hard conversations, telling the truth so that people who I share community with are aware of what's really going on. And for me, that's going to look real heavy in this Black birth space and maternal mortality conversations. I'm speaking the truth. It's coming. Folks in the MIC hospital systems might not like it, but what's most important to me, and part of why we're doing that docuseries, is that Black families have all the information that they need to have. If I can help it, if I could reach every single Black household and have a sit-down conversation with them about what birth looks like, what it looks like giving birth at a hospital, what it looks like giving birth, with midwives in a birth center or at home, that's what I want to do, because I want people to know what's out there, right? And when I say I'm bringing truth to light, I mean, regardless of what the outcome is, right? So regardless of what backlash there is, regardless of what negativity might come, what matters is that people know the truth and that they know what's available to them and what their options are in all aspects of life. So we'll be illuminating some stuff this year. And then also just shining. Do I look, I feel like I'm shining today, but just shining bright. Shining bright. I'm not dimming my light for anybody anymore. I have a tendency in my personal life to play small, or when the going gets tough, or if, like if there are like big power players in the room, I kind of just, I'll sit back and watch, and I don't want to do that anymore. Wherever I go, I'm stepping in the room with all of my light. Put your shades on if it bothers you, because I'm not dimming. That's what it is. I'm coming in light colors. We're not wearing all this black no more. All of that is important to me. So that's what you're going to see for me in terms of what I mean by light. And in growth, growth, exactly what that means, right? In business, I'm looking at expanding my businesses, but not just expanding the businesses like so that they grow, so that I make more money. I'm really looking to expand my network this year and to expand my reach. I want this podcast to reach as many Black mothers, feel like they are learning something from it and have something to gain. And even if it's just for you to like sit in listen, I'm the mom who sits in the garage for like 20 minutes before I go into the house, right? And if that's what this does for mothers across the US, I hope it reaches them. And so that's the work that I'm doing. Personally, I'm cleaning out my closet. That's part of my growth. And when I say cleaning, I don't mean my literal closet, although actually I've been pretty good. My literal closet is like really good right now. I'm proud of myself. But cleaning out the things that are hindering my growth, which takes, there's a lot of accountability that comes with just deciding that we're finally going to do it, right? I think of those things as like boxes in my closet. So that's what I mean by cleaning out my closet. Like there are a couple of issues that I have. I've put them in a box, packed it up all nice and neat, and it sits in my figurative closet in my mind. And this year, there are 2 topics that I know I need to tackle. I got to go in, clean those boxes out, because if I'm going to level up the way that I know that I can, the way that I know that I want to, the way that I know I'm deserving of, right? That I got to clear that stuff out. I got to clear that stuff out in order to see that growth. And then finally, my hair. And I'm halfway joking, but I'm also being, I wanted to keep this episode a little bit light. But yeah, I'm looking for my hair to grow. I can't figure out what I want to do with it though. So I'm like, are we going to do locks again? Am I going to just like let my fro get all big and, bouncy and beautiful again? Or, I don't know. So just know that you'll probably see me show up few different ways. I'm liking my little Frederick Douglass today. I think it's cute. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But in all seriousness, this new year has opened up with some pretty heavy and hard news. If you've been paying attention to the news, if you're a person who pays attention to like, pop culture, Black culture, television, film, and all of that, you've probably seen the stories of 3 Black public figures who died of suicide recently. One being Ian Alexander, who is the son of Regina King. Secondly, Chesley Christ, who is the 2019 Miss USA pageant winner. And she was also the host of Extra TV. And also Moses J. Mosley, who was an actor on The Walking Dead and other notable TV shows that he was on. And so I just want to take this time, listener friends, to remind us that, we're in unprecedented times right now. We're going on the second year of a pandemic. We are in times where people are struggling to keep their households together. We are in times where parents are having a hard time figuring out what schooling looks like for their children, right? There's so much on everyone's plates. And so I just want to remind you that where you can stay light, be light, right? If there's something that you can set aside, if there's a responsibility that somebody else can take care of for you, if you have those resources, if you have those extra people around, use, not use who's around you, but use who's around you. Reach out and let people know if you're struggling. But more than the expectation of those who are struggling reaching out, I want us to all make a concerted effort to reach out to those that we care about and that we love when we think of them, right? I often have a hard time with anxiety and depression. And I know how hard it is when you're in that moment to make that call. It's hard sometimes when you're in that moment just to be and to think clearly. And so I know that there have been times where I've been in a really hard space, in a really bad space, and just trying my hardest to work it out. And I'll get a text message from someone, or someone might, pop by the house, or sometimes it's my clients who send me a photo update of their babies. And those are the things that just, it's those small actions that can really lift someone's day. So if you think about a person, don't wait, don't push it off, send them something. Let them know you're here. If you haven't heard from somebody in a while, just reach out, put a feeler out. You don't have to get all nosy. You're going to be all in people's business. Don't be showing up on people's doorsteps unannounced, unless, of course, you think that there is something, emergent or urgent going on. But send out the feelers, reach out to people, because it's really hard for people who are struggling with mood disorders to have that first act of reaching out themselves. So just want to, let's start this year off light. I'm excited to share the guests that are going to be on this season. At the end of last season, I told you all that last year was a lot of talking about healing, right? And kind of healing those hard places that we've had, and growing through and working through, and kind of that push forward, right? And so this year, this season of the Doin Motherhood podcast, I really want to talk about what it looks like on the other side of that. And not that healing ever stops, because it doesn't. We're always doing it. But what does it look like when we do put in that work, and we're caring for ourselves, and we're loving on ourselves, putting ourselves first, so that we can be a full cup for the people around us, our family around us, and within our communities. That's really important. So stay light, and we'll check in with you next time.